So there's something here about consciousness and what we focus on. You know, that one of the things Uncle Tony was focusing on was poor farm, poor farm, poor farm. Now, I got to tell you, I went through that whole story because he actually had quite a bit of money. By all of our standards, he had a lot of money, you know, because he'd never spent any, right? And had worked his whole life and had always bought these government bonds. And so a couple of things I realized, that he could have lived a much more comfortable life, but perhaps even more important than that, that what he focused on is actually what he got. Because you know, the law of the universe, your subconscious mind doesn't hear, I don't want to go to the poor farm. What it hears is poor farm, poor farm, poor farm, for decades and decades and decades. And even though it was costing him many thousands of dollars a month, he wound up at the poor farm. So this is why, you know, when we talk about consciousness, why what we focus on increases. You know that what you say over and over again you get or you become is so, so important. The first week of our Journey of the Heart, I talked about, or actually Reverend Les talked about planting a seed. That, you know, what you're planting, you know, is, you have to be conscious of what you're planting. And then I talked about waiting for your ship to come in, and how often people are waiting for their ship to come in when the fact is they haven't sent one out. And then we talked about giving and receiving, because the basic law of consciousness is what you give out is what can come back to you. And I talked about the prosperous consciousness, how important it is to see ourselves in our mind's eye, and when we speak about ourselves and when we think about ourselves, to see ourselves healthy and happy and abundantly supplied and surrounded by love, that we have to see ourselves that way because that's what the universe is responding to. And so today I'm just going to say a few things about this idea about my abundant life. And you know, how I want to start is I want to use something from the Gospel of John in the 5th chapter that is really, really interesting and personal to me, because a few years back I was in Jerusalem in the Holy Land, and it was great. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. People said, weren't you scared? And I said, never. Not for a moment. I thought it was the most fabulous thing ever. It was fantastic. And one of the places we went was the pools of Bethesda. So in the 5th chapter of John, Jesus and the disciples come to this place where there are these 5 pools. And what people believe at this time is that an angel will come and stir the pool, and the first person in the water gets healed. Mm-hmm. So pretty simple, huh? When the angel comes, the water gets stirred, first person in gets healed. So there is a man who's been there for 38 years. Can you imagine? 38 years. Oh my God. Waiting to get in the water, waiting to be the first one in the pool. Oh, I could say so much about that, right? Because it says in the Bible, a certain man was there for 38 years. And Jesus says to him, wilt thou be made whole? Right?